Christmas dinner, my dad said, "You're a burden. You can't live with us anymore." When I packed up and told them I'd stop paying the bills, my dad, at first I thought I misheard. My mom gave this nervous laugh, like maybe he was joking, but he just sat there staring at me, waiting for my reaction. The room went silent. My sister Lily froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. She looked at me with wide eyes like she couldn't believe what she'd just heard. I swallowed the piece of ham I was chewing and put my fork down. "What? You heard me," he said. "You're no longer welcome here. You need to move out." I just sat there trying to process. I'm 23, have a steady job, could have moved out years ago, but I stayed because they needed me. I paid the electric bill, the internet, groceries most weeks, things they couldn't afford because my dad had been unemployed for years and my mom only worked part-time. I wasn't a burden. I was the reason the lights were still on in that house. And now, out of nowhere, I was being kicked out like some useless freeloader. Mom finally spoke up. "Maybe we should talk about this later." But Dad interrupted. "No, Ed, this is my house. I make the rules and I say he's done here." Lily put down her fork. She was only 16 and I could tell she was scared. She stared at our parents like she didn't even recognize them. If they could throw me out so easily, what did that mean for her? I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to argue or beg. If they wanted me out, fine, but they weren't ready for what that really meant. I leaned back in my chair. "All right," I said. My dad sat up straighter, like he'd won some imaginary battle. My mom still looked uncomfortable, but she didn't say anything. Maybe she was in shock, or maybe she just didn't care as much as I thought. I stood up, grabbed my plate, and carried it to the sink. I didn't want to give them the reaction they wanted. Instead, I looked at Lily, who was still sitting there, tense and confused. I gave her a small nod. She was the only one at that table I still cared about. Dad took a sip of his drink like nothing had happened. Mom went back to picking at her mashed potatoes. Lily kept looking at me like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. I didn't stay to finish dinner, just walked out. I went straight to my room, closed the door, and started packing. I wasn't going to waste time trying to understand why they were doing this. If they wanted me gone, I was gone. But that also meant they'd lose everything I'd been paying for, and I wasn't going to warn them. I packed in silence, but I could hear them talking downstairs. My mom's voice was low and scared. My dad's was firm, like he was trying to convince her of something. I caught bits and pieces. "He's old enough. We can handle it. He should have moved out years ago." An hour later, there was a knock on my door. I opened it and Lily slipped inside, quickly shutting the door behind her. Her eyes were red and puffy. She'd been crying. "Are you really leaving?" she whispered. "Yeah," I said. "I don't have much choice. Can I come with you?" That broke my heart. "You're 16. They'd call the cops. But the second you turn 18, my door's open." She hugged me tight. "I hate them for this." "Don't," I said. "Just remember who was here for you." I left that night. Didn't say goodbye to them. Just grabbed my stuff and drove to a friend's place. 3 days later, my phone exploded. "Mom."
You can now check part 2 by pressing share then more.